Solar energy is gaining popularity as an alternative source of electricity. So says our next guest, Jeremy Leggett of Solarcentury. Jeremy, thanks very much for your time. Solar panels, they've had some mixed success. Why do you think they're going to take off now?
Well, number one, they work. They've got a 40-year history in the field, and it's one of the fastest growing industries in the world over these last 10 years. And they work in different climates as well. Of course, they're best suited for the Sun Belt, but even in cloudy countries like Britain, if we took all our roof space and all our facades on all the buildings in cloudy Britain, we could generate more electricity than we use. And we're an electricity profligate country.
Speaking of Britain, I've heard that solar panel subsidies are kind of coming under threat. What's that going to do for the outlook of the industry?
It's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt us badly. It'll set us back, and it's happening in multiple countries. And I think it's important to be clear why it's happening. I get told this everywhere I go. It's because the nuclear industry and the gas industry in particular are lobbying very hard now to hold renewables back. They tell officials, they tell ministers that you can't have a big mix of renewables in your energy mix. And that's flat wrong, actually, with the problems we have with climate change and energy security. We actually need a big mix of renewables in the bag.
Okay, we're out here in Asia. Asian governments, how much more likely are they to be enforcing kind of solar-friendly regulations?
I think the jury's still out. I mean, much depends on China. I was on a delegation to India recently and met lots of people in government and industry who are really actually worried at how far they've fallen behind China in solar and other renewables. And if the Chinese push continues and they start coming to the view that, you know what, this technology is actually a lot better than a number of the conventional competitors, then I think the rest of Asia will follow suit, and that could actually be the engine of continuing growth for the global industry.
You spoke of China, a major energy consumer. What's the outlook for solar power projects there?
Broadly good at the moment, I would have thought. I mean, they've come from nowhere. So in 2000, there were hardly any manufacturers in China. Now, more than half the solar cells in the world are manufactured in China. They're very good quality often. And they've started the process of creating a domestic market, so it's not just all about export. So I live in great hopes. I mean, I have to, don't I? Because most of my supply chain is in China.
Sure. And finally, given the current economic environment, what's the outlook or appetite for financing of solar power projects?
Well, as I said earlier, we've been knocked back, and there's very poor investor sentiment now. We were really on an upswing in 2007, but pretty much with the credit crunch and the collapse of share prices, and now this, as I said earlier, really strong pushback against us from conventional energy vested interests. We're on the back foot right now, but I remain bullish about the long term.
All right, many thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That was Jeremy Leggett of Solarcentury. I'm Lisa Yuriko Thomas, and this is Reuters.